Nikke Kokko. All right. This one also caused some questions and some what's happening and our dearest beloved Milo. I am called the Magic Man because I soothe um anxiety to an extent, apparently. So that's three Milo mentions or four? I think we're at
I think
four.
we're at three.
Okay. But yes, Monday today, on what should largely be a quiet day on the schedule I got, they were supposed to practice in St. Louis today. But that would have been set for 10 our time, and the call-up announcement came up 19 minutes after 10. So I don't think he practiced with them today. I could be wrong. They could have announced it later. That is something that they do in sports. Um, but also I feel like we would have seen it. Like they would have hyped it
Yeah.
up, you know? So Nikke Kokko was recalled from the Firebirds. Additionally, Alish Steska and Kale Fleury were reassigned to Coachella Valley. Now, this like knee-jerk reaction some people had was that he's gonna play, or like some I'll be nice. Some people thought it meant that Philip Grubauer had moved down to fourth on the organizational depth chart.
Hmm.
I'm trying really hard, Jade.
I know. Me too.
Um, that's not the case,
Yeah.
no matter what you might think, because this does a few things, at least making sense. The Kraken could surprise all of us and do the most surprising thing, and this could be their white flag. I don't think it is,
Hmm.
because you have to factor this in, okay? The Kraken play just one game over the next 5 days. They play tomorrow,
Hmm.
Tuesday, the 25th, against the Blues, and then they'll come home and they don't play again until the first against Vancouver,
Yep.
right? So there's a decent amount of time there, um, where you don't have to worry about it. It's not like this back to back where you had to play Stezka. I almost said Coco. Wrong.
Hmm.
Like, so I think I broke this down as well to some of our friends. He's just gonna back up. He's gonna
Hmm.
see the NHL life. It was kind of like when Shane Wright first got called up and he scored against Montreal. Oh, that was glorious. Um, he got to see some NHL life. He
Hmm.
did sit in the press box a little bit. He got to be around. He did the whole media thing. Da 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 da. Then he went back. They said, "Hey, you got an experience. We want you to come back. We want you to like want to be back.
Yep.
Here's how it went. Learn from these guys. Come back ready." And he
Hmm.
has, right? So like it's a bit early, but obviously the organization feels strongly about him. The fan base has liked what he's done in Coachella Valley. He's got 15 wins. Now there's a
Hmm.
rookie. He's 20 years old, Jade. I'm not making you feel old on purpose,
Yeah.
but he makes me feel old too. He's only 20. Um, so, you know, and then also Coachella Valley between now and one, two, sorry, I'm doing this. They played two games before the first, which was
Hmm.
Vancouver, right? I don't imagine because Philip Grubauer did play against the San Jose Barracuda in their last game, I do believe. Um, AHL website is loading slowly. Yeah, I'm 99% sure he did. So
Hmm.
he's not going to play the next two games. I think that's unlikely.
Hmm.
So he factors in because with only the one game in the next 5 days, obviously, you know, there's not anywhere Steska's going to go,
Yeah.
right? And the big thing, as again, we're going back to Curtis, our friend Deep Sea Hockey, it resets his waiver clock,
Hmm.
because he'd been here, what, 14 days since the last time he was placed on waivers. And I think it's 30 days is the limit or something like that. Um,
I can't. That sounds kind of right.
Let me go back to. I know RJ. Yeah, at 30 days he requires waivers. Yes. So
Okay.
this cuts the clock.
Hmm.
And, we played in that game. You'll probably have him back before Vancouver, I imagine.
Yeah.
Get him a game in Coachella Valley, whether that is Henderson or San Diego.
Hmm.
San Diego? Yeah, it is San Diego.
Again?
Yeah. It was
Oh.
Grubauer. Okay. So yeah, you're not having him play three games in a row.
Hmm.
I just don't think he can handle that at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
or I don't know if he'd want it. Um, yeah, San Diego. Yep. So you play Henderson and San Diego. I imagine Cesca plays one of those. One of them's on
Hmm.
Wednesday, one of them's on Friday. It would make sense for him to play one of those games, have him come back after Friday. Maybe I imagine maybe before. Um, so there's that. They're going to reward him a little bit because he gets the NHL level pay.
Hmm.
And in the video that the Firebirds posted of the call up, um, they said you're going to back up in St. Louis.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, all of the sense in this big egg brain, Jayd, tells me this is just a oneer. Just like
Hmm.
with Victor Ostman. Ostman had carried the load in Kansas City. They called
Yep.
him up to just be the placeholder over the time of the Four Nations break.
Hmm.
This is that to me on a smaller level because it's less time. I don't know. What
Hmm.
did you think about it?
I agree with all of that again. At first I was a little bit like, "Duh, I don't know how I feel about that." But then when they confirmed, he's just backing up, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We got to stop killing the baby goalies.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like you I don't think he maybe deeper into the season, maybe if we get deeper into the season and it's against like a San Jose,
Hmm.
maybe, maybe.
Yeah, just
Um,
to get the like actual in-game NHL experience, not just
yeah,
the sitting on the bench NHL
not
experience.
right now,
Yeah.
right? Like, excuse me. And also considering the fact that Coachella Valley, they haven't been as good as they have been in previous years when they, had these like basically guys who are good enough for the NHL but aren't quite there.
Hmm.
Aren't good enough to stay around, with Podorowski and Lind and
Yep.
all these guys, right? Cameron Hughes. Um, they're still sixth in the AHL. They're 6 points out of first place in the entire league behind the Rochester Americans. There are a few other teams in front of them, but they're still a good team. They're going to make a playoff run. He will be big for them in that playoff run.
Hmm.
Like, let the cake bake fully. I'm not. They're not going to do a lot with him.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
fully
think they
agree.
will. And even people I've talked to in the hockey world don't think he'll really be here on a full-time basis until
Hmm.
after next season.
Which makes sense because goalies take so much longer to develop just in general because there's only so many goalies. They can't all be ready at the same time.
That's the same thing too. And like I talked about Ostman, and he's been solid at Kansas City, but he's in the ECHL. Like that's even
Hmm.
a longer cake to bake.
Yep.
So like Coco's the next guy. Like
Hmm.
let's you want to make sure he doesn't come up here and get shelled and then he's just ruined.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I want to trust the process here how you can. They will
Hmm.
probably like Milo, cover your ears. I'm looking at you. Cover your ears. They're gonna have to buy out Grubauer this offseason
Hmm.
and bring in some like Kevin Lankinen, David Rittich type backup guy, a floater, right?
Hmm.
Because I don't think it's Stezka full time. Like, I don't think so. I
I
could
don't
be
think.
surprised. He played
Yeah.
well in Tampa Bay. I'll give him his credit, but I don't think they're gonna have him up here. Because then who's the other guy in Coachella Valley with Coco?
Hmm.
Um, I don't like maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. The only fun other thing if he gets in a game, God forbid. Like I think the only situation he gets in the game on Tuesday is if they win by a good amount and they say, "All right, buddy, you've got the final 5 minutes. Close
Hmm.
us out." Like, if he does enter a game, he would be the youngest goalie to play the NHL level in over 2 years by at Kraken Stats on Twitter. They post some good stuff as well. Um, I don't see a scenario outside of a cleanup job where he plays,
Yeah.
and I don't think he stays on the roster past Friday. I'm gonna say Friday at the most. So that's just my like it just doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
right? Like at least not right now. Later in the
The
season when you're far out of it and you wave the white flag, sure. Could this
yeah.
be the white flag? We don't know because we haven't heard like there's been no availability with Ron or Dan. Like maybe tomorrow morning skate they'll talk about it and we'll get
Hmm.
that audio. But yeah.
There's also
Um,
the goaltending situation for not even just the Kraken. So many teams this year is uh so many things.
it's been a year.
Um, yeah, but especially with the like, specifically with the Kraken and the Grubauer situation, I don't think many people fully expected the extent of what's been going on to happen.
Mm, yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
yeah. So I feel like everything is just kind of throwing a wrench in the, you know, the plans, I guess,
yeah.
the plans for this year.
Yeah, it has just like how this season generally has not been a kind
Not a
year to
kind season for
anybody.
anybody.
Um,
Okay.
it hasn't been for them either.
Yeah.
So, um, all right.
Hey, Charles.
Hey Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Kraken away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of circling Seattle sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.